All right, Buki, I have read things concerning this issue and particularly BBOG. I mean, from all works, someone said, a write-up was saying that they should stop giving money to BBOG. And even the Chibok people said that the BBOG are not being frank. Even when it was political time, all of them went to sleep. Some of them probably were expecting some appointments. That after the appointments were thrown up, they come up again. I want you to respond to that.
I think it is unfortunate for us as Nigerians to think in that direction. Every of the Chibok girl that was abducted is synonymous to a Nigerian girl child. So when we think that for people to come out on a daily basis, it can only be interpreted through the lenses of political gains, then it is disappointing, especially when we think of how far that we have come. Prior to the elections period, we knew what was going on in the polity. We knew what was going on around Nigeria, where people believed that the only way to explain how people who are not directly connected to or related to the Chibok girls, the only way you could explain their coming out on a daily basis is for one gain or the other. We are yet to come to a point where we can wrap our minds around how people who are not from your community, they can come out and fight vigorously for you. So it's a perception of people, it's an interpretation of people that we are coming out on a daily basis for one political gain or the other. People have tried to tag us, people have called us names, but it still does not mean that we will dance to their tune. Let's not lose sight of why we are advocating in the first place. 276 girls were abducted, 57 escaped. Those 57 have not been properly taken care of. The parents are dying on a daily basis. 17 parents have died. 14 of them are fathers. 3 of them are mothers. That community is still impoverished. A lot of the Chibok girls' parents are still living in abject poverty. A lot of them have been displaced. A lot of them are living in IDP camps. A lot of them don't even know what to eat or where to go to. No healthcare, no water, no school. So let's not shift away from the crux of why we are advocating and try to interpret it from very flimsy things. Politics does not define us. We define politics. And I think we should go beyond all of those name calling and name tagging. That would be my reaction.
I will get back to you, definitely. I can feel the passion oozing out of your being. You are right to feel that way. You could feel the passion oozing out of her being.
And I think the annoyance, the anger.
Yeah. I'm just using passion to play it down a little bit because you can feel the anger there. Maybe you should respond to particularly because when I had to bring that in so they can explain, maybe to probably broaden people's thinking as to what BBOG has been up to, because I have seen them stand under the sun, under the rain, men, women with their mats. And for me, I was thinking that was a good thing to do.
Naturally, I think what we have in Nigeria is we have a culture of distrust and mistrust. We don't understand that people actually can be non-altruistic. They literally can. And that's what these women have shown. We've forgotten the goodness in us as a being, the goodness in us as a people. Because in Nigeria, we are our brother's keepers. And that's what these women have shown. So for me, I detest that argument that, oh, it's because they want a political appointment. But however, amongst chaos comes creativity. If amongst this group of women who started off charging to ensure that our daughters were brought back, if amongst them we're able to identify one person who can make a change within politics, why not?
Why not?
Why not? You see, so that's why I totally understand Buki's annoyance. I get very irritated, and I think, she's actually being calm. I've had some really ugly arguments about it with people. Because and it's often the case, when a woman is being a mother, when she's being a leader, when she's standing up to be counted, when she's being fearless, she's told she's either wanting something or trying to get something. And it's just, it's an insult to the efforts. So I totally get where Buki's coming from. I think what they have done, and like she said, is with the noise, with over days, and I think, again, this is natural. We mustn't get away from the fact that we are human beings after all. And come on, this is a country that's hard to live in as it is. So we all have the machinations of survival every day. So, of course, the noise slowly goes down, and then every time there's another 100 days marked, you get everybody tweeting. But yes, so we tweet, and then what?
I'm going to get back to the issue of tweet to you, Ireti, but let me take on, and there's something that Buki talked about, which she talked about, so you're going to address it. It's surprising to me, really, but you're going to address it. I'll get back to you. Buki, on to you again. What has been the greatest impediment to rescuing these girls?
I would say the greatest impediment is us as a people. Once we are a people that we color our intentions, then it is difficult for us to be able to work together. Look at the beginning of the campaign for these girls, how the whole world rallied around and how the whole world came outside. People carried placards, people called the authority, people demanded, people requested. If you look at that massive redefinition of activism, then you would wonder what happened to us. If a people is divided against itself, then we cannot achieve any aim. At the beginning of the campaign, we came out in our thousands. People across the world, both Nigerians and non-Nigerians, were speaking the same language. But look at what has happened today. People have colored this particular advocacy, where we forget that abduction of one Nigerian girl is abduction of my own daughter, is abduction of any Nigerian. So because we could not sustain that unison of voice and of request, it was difficult for us to be able to keep pushing this thing so that those we have given the mandate to act on our behalf can prioritize this and act accordingly. Government is there as a democratic system of the people, for the people, and by the people. That emphasizes something, that the people has a critical role to play in ensuring that whatever would be the gains of that I see is us as a people. The president, being in his capacity as the commander-in-chief, the executive arm, the legislative arm, the judiciary, they all have their respective function to play in this whole issue as it relates to the rescue of the girls. But if we, the people, do not call them to order, and if we do not demand, then these people can sit down and they can act in the way that they think. So while military actions can be taken, military actions are being taken, non-military actions should be taken in order for us to achieve results. But when the people are relaxed, then the government will also be relaxed.
I'll get back to you, Buki, there. Buki talked about the fact that it's surprising to her that even the ones that ran away, about 57 of them, have not been quite well taken care of. Was she taking her passion too far? Because you talked about 3 having gone abroad. So I'm wondering, do you agree with that? They have not
Yes,
taken,
I do.
Because if you can take care of the ones who have come out, if that's true, then why are we talking about even the determination to go rescue the ones that are still there?
I hear you. First of all, the ones that are abroad, it wasn't the Nigerian government that made it happen. It was also Nigerians abroad who made that happen. Okay, so that's just 3. I think there's only 3 of them. And I think Buki is right with the fact that you have, so the 57 escaped, minus 3, you've got 54 girls out there whose lives have been scarred. But actually, nobody is putting an effort to regenerate their lives again. Like she said, they're still living in abject poverty. We have to understand that poverty is part of what's responsible, what's causing this insurgency in the first place. So you have girls who were taken away to join this horrible gang. And this gang, they were able to escape. As soon as they're back, you know, there are works that's going on with Boko Haram when the Boko Haram members, they sit with them, and there's a lot of psychological work that goes on with them, which we don't get to hear about a lot, but there are those, so I have to say the military are doing that. And those soft tactics, where they, how do you say, they sort of get them to re-engineer them back into the community. Those sort of work are long-term. Now, why hasn't that happened with these girls? That's a very good question. Because one of the things they do is they talk to them about, look, religion. Let's discuss religion. What do you believe Allah says? It turns out most of them have actually never read the Quran, believe it or not. Contrary to many people's, belief, they've never read the Quran. When they capture these gangs and they talk about them, okay, what are your hopes, dreams, aspirations for the future? Because it's about the fact that I need to feel a sense of belonging. I need to feel a strong sense of hope. I need to know that somewhere out there, my world is waiting for me. My little bit of the world is waiting for me. So like they say in Yoruba, Tebi bati kroni nuishe, ishe bushe. I don't know how you say that in Igbo.
No, but say it in English.
Well, it basically means once you've removed the hunger from one's life, and hunger is not just food. Do you understand? It comes in so many ways. Once you've removed the hunger from somebody's life, then that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So in this context, it's not really just food, it's other things. And you've got to give people a reason to belong.
To want to live.
To want to live. To want
something to look forward to.
Exactly, and to be part of the community. This fragmentation that's happened.
Integrating them into the society.
Nobody's done this with the girls. The 3 girls that got away, that are in the States. Who did the debriefing? It wasn't our people. It wasn't our government. It was CNN, I believe, that did the debriefing. How did you get away? What happened? Da, da, da. Has anybody sat with the rest of the 50-odd girls that are there and said, right, okay, what would you like to do? These 3 girls were saying, the ones that are in the States, they were saying, I gave up on school. I didn't ever want to go to school again. Now they're in the US, they're enjoying school. Has anybody sat down with the rest of the 50-odd girls and said, right, what do you want to do? Do you want to go back to school? They'll probably say no, because they have, horrible trauma.
Yeah,
thank you.
The experience.
But you can say to them, what, how about we relocate you? If we relocate you and then rebuild your community. Because one thing is for sure, even the 3 girls that are away, they're looking forward to coming back to Nigeria.